Okay, welcome everyone to our first episode of the ASH GBS series. My name is Omar Shahid, the president of Advocate Health, and I'm here with our team members, Ali, who is our marketing exec, and Renita, who is our outreach exec. And today we will be chatting with our special guest, Sara, in order to learn a bit about her thoughts and experience with GBS and the GBS community. So before we get started on some of our questions, please tell us a bit about yourself, Sara, and your experiences.
Okay. Well, just to give like a brief intro, I am a third year university student at the University of Waterloo. I'm in the Health Sciences Cooperative Program. And yeah, I'm currently doing courses online, and I'm going to talk about my experience with GBS today.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you want me to just like go into it, or are you going to ask like specific questions?
No, I'm just I was just saying that it's really cool that you're a university student as well. So we're also in our third year as well. Yeah,
Oh,
my
okay.
big master. So yeah, it's pretty cool to know that. But yeah, you can. Ali, would you like to go ahead and start?
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing we'd like to ask are like, what are some challenges that you faced throughout your journey with GBS? Yeah.
A lot of challenges. I think I guess so I'll kind of explain what happened. So I'll start off by saying I did my first year of university, and then it was in the summer of 2019 that I got GBS. So it was actually, like, believe it or not, like 2 weeks before I was in Paris, France. I was on vacation. I was totally fine. And then when I was at home, I was feeling kind of sick one day, and then I literally got up to get out of bed, and then I just collapsed, and I was very confused. I didn't know what was going on, and I was unable to walk, but I could still move my legs, and I could still feel everything. So I was very confused. And then that's when my family, called the ambulance. I had to go to the hospital, and one of the emergency doctors, like, the first thing he said was, he's like, I think this is Guillain-Barré syndrome. And I didn't even know what it was at that time. Like, my family and I were literally Googling, like, what is this, disease? And then I was admitted to the hospital, and the progression of my GBS was very fast. Like, the first day I was there, it was just my legs had weakness, and by the next day I was paralyzed from the neck down. I was in the ICU. I was not, they told me that I likely, would have to go on life support, because the next thing that gets affected, is your diaphragm and your respiratory system. But thankfully that didn't happen, probably because the second day when I was in the hospital, they gave me IVIG treatment. And then I spent like probably 3 weeks in the ICU. And then in total, I was in the hospital for 3.5 months. I was transferred to different hospitals to start, gradually doing rehab and just get my body moving, and start the process of learning to walk again. So first I was at Grand River Hospital, and then I was at St. Joseph's Rehab in Guelph, and then I was at the Hamilton Regional Rehab, which is inside of Hamilton General Hospital. And then slowly I started regaining my strength. Like, the very first thing I remember was I started being able to move just my fingers. You're still paralyzed from the neck down, but just my fingers. And I remember I was so excited because there's like a video I have that I just was able to text for the very first time after, not being able to for so long, because I couldn't use my phone. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't do anything myself. And I even felt that my voice was really powerful, because at the time that was all that I really had, that I could do myself without any help, is talk to people. So yeah, and then after being in Hamilton, then I got discharged in after 3.5 months, and that's when you become an outpatient. So I was still in a wheelchair, still unable to walk, but at this point I was able to move my arms and I was able to sit up. So it was now from the waist down that I was still paralyzed. So yeah, there was a lot of challenges, not just for me, but actually for my entire family. Both of my parents took like a year off of work. My brother also had to help me. I have a younger brother, he's 15, but he also helped with lots of stuff. And because really GBS is something that affects your whole family. Like, I remember I was so excited to come home to finally be out of the hospital, but at the same time, you don't realize how different your life is going to be when you can't walk. So for example, I couldn't go up the stairs to go to my bedroom. So we actually, we found a stair lift that somebody donated, and it was fit the perfect size to go to my basement. And we have like a nice finished basement. So for a while I was like, had all my stuff in the basement, and that's where I was living, so that, in terms of accessibility, it was easier. And then, my parents had to help me with everything from, doing my physio, driving me to Hamilton for physio, because like we live in Kitchener. And bathing, going to the washroom, eating, like every single thing. So there was definitely a lot of challenges, and I think also motivation. It was very hard, when you have, doctors telling you that this could take 2 to 3 years for you to recover, that, you're like, oh my God, like you feel like I was only 19 when it happened, and I felt like, oh, my life is over. Like I have to put everything on pause. I put my studies on pause. Like I took a year off of that. And yeah, so there's like so many different challenges I faced with GBS. But at the end of the day, I think it's made me who I am today. It's made me a stronger person, physically, mentally, and I always say I actually, I'm not grateful that it happened, but I'm grateful that it changed my perspective on life. So.
Yeah, that's amazing, like what you said about like the perspective part. And like we actually had a chat with someone else with GBS a few weeks ago, and they also mentioned their experience, and like it was very, very similar to yours. They were actually traveling too, and they experienced it like all of a sudden, and it was like from the neck down. And yeah, I think like it's like when we hear stories like this, like sometimes we that also has like a huge impact on the family and like the other networks that the person's associated with. So to hear that, like, that happens is something else too. But I really like appreciate like your resilience, and I admire that you were able to like look through it and see that like what the perspective was then and what it is now. So yeah, it's definitely like something amazing to be able to reflect on that afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. Even I'm always, I'll never forget the experience. Like it was like almost a year and a half of my life. So it was like 14 months that I was unable to walk. And still after that was, slowly walking with a walker and then walking with a cane. And actually still today, I still have some limitations. Like, for example, I wear AFOs, which are ankle foot orthotics, because I still experience a bit of foot drop, and that's, from the severe nerve damage. But oh yeah, also something I forgot to mention is that even the variant of GBS that I have is severe. So there's different variants. So the one that I have is AMAN, and that stands for acute motor axonal neuropathy. So basically that's why, with other cases of GBS, sometimes people can actually walk after just a few months or even a few weeks. But the nerve damage that happened to me was so severe that I was unable to walk for over a year, and still today I do have that foot drop. But at the end of the day, like I'm always so grateful, and I literally try to remind myself every day to be like, well, in my like religion, we say like Alhamdulillah. So I say that like every day, that, I say Alhamdulillah that I can walk, and I just really try to, be grateful, and it's not something you forget, but it's always also something you have to remind yourself of. And even even when I tell people about it, I try to, have them imagine, what would your life be like if you suddenly woke up one day, couldn't
Right.
walk anymore, and needed help with every single thing. So it's like even thinking about it is just crazy, but it's important to really reflect on it, I think.
Yeah, I'm a Muslim too, so like I can relate to that as well. And like I'm pretty sure like gratefulness is like a thing that everyone should like, take like
Yes.
look at as well. So like seeing that your experience, I'm just like wondering like was there one specific thing that motivated you throughout, or was there like multiple factors? Like I know you mentioned your family, but what about like the public health, like your doctors, physicians, nurses, like what impact did they have as well throughout your experience?
Um, well, yeah, as I mentioned, yeah, family definitely was a great help, like motivating factor.
Right.
Um, I haven't really thought about it in terms of health. Like sometimes it was hard because the doctors would have to say things that I didn't really want to hear,
Mm.
um, which is always hard. But I think what helped is actually in Guelph. I remember when I was in the rehab there, they actually, I think it was the physiotherapist's idea. She brought like a former GBS patient that she had, and that it was an older patient, but she, was also and went through the whole thing, but she was walking. So, they brought this person in front of me, and they're like, look, like it is possible. Like in the moment, you sometimes think like, no, like it's impossible. I don't know how I could possibly walk again or recover from this. But when they brought that patient in front of me, and I just even got to talk with that patient, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, like it's right in front of my eyes. I can see it. This is possible. I can learn to walk again. So I think that was always helpful. Um, and they even some of the healthcare providers told me to, go online and connect with people. And I think something that really helped is actually um, which is actually the only reason I don't really use Facebook, but I literally started using it because there's different GBS like support groups on there.
Support groups, right? Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so that was really helpful for me because anytime you like had a question or just a comment or wanted to ask anything to somebody, there's so many people in those groups who have already experienced like the same thing as you. Um, so yeah, actually, another thing I didn't mention is even on top of the GBS, I had other challenges. Like, for example, actually, just when I was learning to walk again, it was literally like after the second or third day that I just started using a walker, I actually broke my foot because I was doing it. It was also rough because I was doing rehab, but then the pandemic happened. So then my rehab got shut down. So, but they told me to keep doing, physio from home. But then I think my family and I, we got a little too excited that we saw that my standing was getting better. So then we were like, oh, like, let me just try to take a couple steps. And literally the second day, I was taking a couple steps, and actually we were on a Zoom call with my physiotherapist. And then at that moment, my left knee just gave out, and I collapsed. And then had to go to the hospital, everything. I fractured my foot in like two places. And then, that also delayed my recovery because I had to, take care of that issue.
Mm.
But yeah, so I had like other challenges within the GBS, but then leading back to like the support, when I posted I in the support groups, I was like, has this happened to you guys? Like I literally was trying to walk, and then my knee just gave out, and then I got so much support from so many different people like around the world, and a lot of people were actually even saying they've had like that same experience. They've also fractured their foot in the process of learning to walk again. So, and they're giving me advice and, you know, telling me what kind of vitamins and supplements I can take to maybe help strengthen my bones.
Mm.
So yeah, so in general, I think the support groups was really nice, talking to other GBS patients, um, and and having like a positive outlook, and having healthcare providers that, you know, try to their best to help you see things in a positive light when you're going through such a difficult time.
If you don't
Right.
mind me asking, you said you were in third year of health sciences at Waterloo, right?
Mhm.
So if I were to guess, you're planning to go into something health related, maybe medical?
Yes. Yeah, that GBS also has affected that too. Well, before going into health sciences, you know, I was always one of those people that was like, oh, I want to be a doctor. But I've actually really been interested in like physiotherapy
Oh,
ever
that's
since
great.
this happened to me. And it's like, because like it's amazing what they do. Like they literally, you know, help me learn to walk again. And I really felt that their help was, you know, even more important to me than going to see a doctor. So I've been interested in that, but at the same time I've also been interested in like neurology,
Mm,
because
right.
my neurologist actually, he like specializes with GBS patients, and he's just like the smartest guy. And it's like, um so I would be interested in that too. And yeah, my experience definitely has, you know, influenced what I do want to do, because at the end of the day I'm like, I want to, you know, either help GBS patients or help people that have been through, you know, severe injuries where they have to learn how to walk again. um and actually I'm in like the co-op program. So on
Mm.
my last co-op term I worked in a clinic in Scarborough where patients have been through like traumatic injuries, like motor vehicle accidents, other types of accidents, and I felt that I really belonged there, because there was people learning to walk again, or, you know, just learning to function again with an injury or something traumatic happening to them. And um you know, like I was assisting like kinesiologists, physiotherapists, chiropractors, and, you know, I told like I was able to connect with a lot of patients because I told them about my GBS story, and that even actually gave them motivation. Like I
Mm,
remember one of
right.
the patients, he was in a wheelchair for a while and now he's walking, and he's like, you know, I always have your story in the back of my mind, like ever since you told me. And he's like, he even acknowledged that that gave him like some sort of motivation and hope that if I can do it, he can do it. So
Mm.
yeah, so I'm not sure yet what exactly I want to do, but yeah, definitely it's really rewarding, I think, when um what I've realized is I actually like when you work with the same patients, because you get to see, you know, their progress over time. Like I wouldn't want to just, for example, be one of those physiotherapists that um you just like patients come and go and you don't really see them again. Like I would want to maybe work in rehab or something so I could like
Mm.
see their progress. But
Yeah, yeah. Building those connections, like, you know, they remember you, and it really helps like with their, like, you know, confidence and all that. So yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really.
yeah, it definitely does. But yeah, I think in general working in healthcare is really rewarding. But when you've had like your own personal experience, that like
Mm.
it just allows you to understand things on a different level. Like for example, even one of the patients when I worked at that clinic, and he was walking again, he was describing how he felt um this weird sensation like happening in his knee, where like it almost could give out. And I was like, oh my god, that's another thing that I've experienced. And I feel like it also allowed me to be more cautious, and because sometimes some of the healthcare practitioners, like, they don't realize that even if this person's up and walking and they seem fine, if there's that little, thing happening in their knee where they feel like it could give out, like I was really cautious, and it just really allows you to understand things on a different level, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah.
I think we'll all agree with you, since all three of us and most of our members actually are also pursuing, a medical career. I think
Oh yeah.
at one point Omar was thinking about neurology. I remember in like first year he thought about it. I'm trying to do something in orthopedics, so uh, definitely like the feeling you get of like wanting to help people is definitely something we can understand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, actually, I've actually been looking into McMaster too. There's so many different like master's programs, and I've been like
Right. Yeah.
searching that, and I'm like, maybe while figuring out what I want to do, I could do a master's or something. Like, there's masters in physiotherapy or like medical science or something that will lead me to the ultimate goal. But yeah, it's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I just want to like make a comment, like how you mentioned, Sierra, like, like after you, like when you yourself go through something in that experience, how that enables you to connect with another who's maybe experiencing or going through a similar thing, and like, being able to empathize with that person to a certain level, but at the same time, understand them to the point where you yourself are able to help them in the way that they should be helped. Because as you mentioned, some healthcare practitioners, they may know the theory and all the symptoms and what can go wrong and how to treat them, but ultimately that level of connecting with the other person, and that plays a really huge role. So that's it's really admirable to see how you're able to use that experience and apply that when it comes to helping others. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited if I do, in the future I make either neurology or something with my career. Like, that's what I'm excited about, is to connect with people and relate to them on another level. And I think it helps, because even actually I remember one of my coworkers at the clinic was telling me, it doesn't help even in general in someone's recovery to act like because you have a certain degree or you're a doctor or something that you're above them. You actually want to put yourself at the same level as them, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what degree you have or how long you've studied. Like, you want to be able to be empathetic and just realize that this is just another person, that this experience could happen to me, like it could happen to any of us. Like, none of us are luckier than others in terms of health. Sometimes things are just random, like GBS. So yeah, it is really important to connect on that level.
Yeah, I love the mindset, honestly. Like that's like how I look at a lot of things too. Like I started doing like crisis responding just a few months ago, just to build that, like, feel like what it's like to empathize with others. So like yeah, definitely look up. You're an inspiration, honestly, like for like all the things you've said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my goal. And it is cool to, I like raising awareness in general about GBS too, because like a lot of people don't even know what it is, and it is something that's pretty rare, although actually, to be honest, well, to me it seems like it's becoming more prevalent. But like, I remember even it helps, posting on social media. Like, I've made like TikToks about GBS in my journey, and then it's amazing to see like so many people around the world are just comment and relate, and then a lot of people, and I've posted about GBS on my social media, and people are like, thanks for raising awareness on this. Like, I didn't know what this
Yeah.
is, and now I'm looking into it. And it's like, it's it's cool because, you know, with GBS, I like to emphasize that it really can happen to anyone. Like it's not, you know, something that's like genetic or something that, like, I know sometimes, like if you do research on it, there are some groups that are more maybe susceptible, but at the end of the day, it's not something that, like, it literally can happen to anyone. Like I've seen even like athletes who are, you know, have the best diet, they're working out all the time, they do everything to maintain their health, and then one day they just get GBS. So it's like,
The look of
that's
it.
I think it's so important because, you know, people have to realize in general also to not take your health for granted, because one day, you know, literally overnight, your entire life can change. So
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, so I think like we're approaching like the end of our podcast, but like I just based on like what you've said, I think we have like a message for our viewers and listeners. I think we all collectively agree on the importance of gratefulness and like not taking things for granted, especially your health. Like your health is so vital and it's like the foundation for like literally almost everything you can do. So just make sure that you take care of it, you appreciate it, and know that like, you know, things can happen, like life happens, things come through. So just be grateful and like have a positive mindset, be optimistic, and like if for those listening, just look up to like someone like Sarah. She's like an inspiration to everybody on based on what she says and all that. So yeah, really appreciate like you sharing with us today.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, you know, for reaching out to me. Like I'm so happy that you were able to find me, and thank you for advocating for GBS and raising awareness about it. Like I was really happy to hear that GBS is something you guys decided to focus on.
Yeah, for sure. We're looking to work with one of the GBS foundations soon. Actually, we have a meeting with them in 1 hour. So
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
awesome.
So we're gonna see if we can host some like virtual events to get people engaged and get them to know more about GBS. So
That is
that's one of our goals.
I'm so happy to hear that. That's great.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, so that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving us your valuable time today. We really appreciate it. Thank you to my execs as well for being here with me. We really look forward to advocating your story in the hopes of providing our viewers with like a unique perspective on rare diseases like GBS, and also what they can do to like, you know, advocate and, you know, contribute as well. And thank you to all who are listening right now. Please feel free to read up on Sarah's story and the Q&A that we just had. We'll actually have a post up on our Advocate Health Instagram at Advocate Health. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, see you guys next time.